Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That's highlights from June 6th, 2021. One of the fuqara asked the Shaykh, how do you banish others and thoughts during the invocation? How do you keep concentration? How can you improve your focus during the invocation? The Shaykh responds, you have to first begin by cultivating reverence, ta'zeem. This reverence begins before the invocation and continues during the invocation as well as after the invocation. Before entering into the wird, you have to prepare yourself. Set your mind the right way. Perform your ritual ablution. Do your wudu with concentration. Ask yourself, why are you doing it and for whom? During the ritual ablution, we wash each of our limbs 3 times. Why do we do so? First, we place our limb and we wash it at the level of the mulk, the physical realm, then the malakut, the spiritual realm, then the jabarut, the realm of invincibility. Cleanse yourself of everything, even of the hereafter. The vessel in which you pour the water contains the secrets of the water of life. Clean the body parts, and this will help you in the wird. We all do the purification, but what do we lack? We lack the concentration. So ask yourself, what is this water for? And what will it do? Of course, you must know how to do wudu properly, but when you're done with full concentration, and when you cleanse each of your limbs from the mulk, the malakut, and the jabarut, then you say La ilaha illallah, because that is why you performed your wudu in the first place. Then, when you go to the place where you will read the wird, it must be pure, devoid of distractions like devices or TV or playing children and so on. Empty a room if you have an extra one. Find a relaxing place. Cultivate a spiritual ambience in that place. Perfume, face the qibla. Ensure that the place is quiet. All of this will help you to gather your aspiration and focus it upon God. All of these things are preparations. Call to mind that you are with God, that you're not alone, that you're awaiting His descent to the first heaven in the night, and sit with adab, proper courtesy and etiquette. You're sitting with God. If you were sitting in the presence of an important person, a dignitary, an imam, a political functionary, you would sit with decorum. You wouldn't dare to lounge. There's a protocol involved in the presence of someone important. The doorman himself wouldn't let you into the office of an important dignitary to begin with if you lacked the proper decorum. The one who is ahead of you in character is ahead of you in Sufism, as the very famous maxim goes. You have to also wear the clothes of the Sunnah. Wear the clothes of the Prophet ﷺ. Put on a turban. You know what the Sunnah is. It's clear. So manifest it. Display it. Like you're sitting in the Prophet's mosque with the Prophet himself ﷺ. Otherwise, how can you hope to reach the Lord of the Prophet ﷺ? You are requesting momentous things from God, after all. If your Shaykh doesn't like being around you because of your character, the Prophet ﷺ would not either. Study the Sunnah in order to implement it, not for mere fact accumulation. People are so deferential in the Prophet's mosque ﷺ. They won't even show their backs to him. This is a matter of experiential taste. You find people kissing the walls, kissing the doorstep. So cultivate this sense of reverence. Restrict yourself. Don't imagine that you are free to act as you please in this presence. You will not enter paradise until you make the camel pass through the eye of the needle. Compact your soul until it can fit through the needle eye into the presence of the essence of the hidden alif, the nuqta, the dot. All of this is ta'lim, cultivation of reverence. Constantly reminding yourself of it in everything, in physical things, the mat, the rosary, the clothing, the perfume, etc. You look in the mirror for hours to get ready just to go to work. Do the same for your wird. Examine yourself. How do you look? When you say Allahumma salli, O Lord, O God, send your blessings upon, you are entering into the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. This is not a time to be heedless. Nor is this all. This is merely the one whose beginning is luminous. Man ashraqat bidayatuh. Having reverence in the beginning ensures a luminous end. After all, the wird is wid, intense love, from the name al-Wadud, the loving. For them the compassionate shall ordain love. سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وِدًّا. You cannot claim to have attained the arshiyah of the name Ar-Rahman if you lack this reverence. Note the verse from Surah Maryam that we just quoted. Adab gets you things that many hours of invocation and awrad and litanies will not. Now that you've prepared yourself, close your eyes. Leave the place behind once you are facing the Qibla. What shall I face now? I face my interior, my batin, my darkness, that dark tunnel we saw earlier in the fuqara who ask questions about the darkness that they see preceding the rings of light. I wish to flee this inner darkness. However, I must pass through that darkness in order to reach the horizons beyond it. The first lesson was that I'm nothing. I am darkness. I am sheer non-existence. Now I must seek the one who created me to take me out of my darkness with dua, supplication, with the opening chapter al-Fatiha, through asking forgiveness, istighfar, and so on. And to do this, I must bring my sanad, my initiatic chain, in front of my eyes. I must be in the presence of my Shaykh. He must be with me as I call upon God, like the door through which I pass. I cannot traverse my soul alone. I am sinking in its mire. I need someone to help pull me out. I pledged allegiance to this Shaykh. Now I must call him to mind, as if he is the ship upon which I embark, the ship of salvation, the Alul Bayt, the progeny of the Prophet ﷺ. Hold to the blessed family, the first key out of this darkness. Do not call anything or anyone else to your mind. يَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. They reflect upon the creation of the heavens and the earth. This grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, your Shaykh, is a creation of God. I call him to mind to guide me through this darkness. Those are all the thoughts I should have. Banish all others. It is not a question of banishing all thoughts. That's not desirable. You have to banish unwanted thoughts with thoughts of the grandson. Problems will come to your mind. You cannot solve them right away. You cannot solve them right now, so they must be forgotten. But the mind wants to do something, so give it something to do. Think of the grandson who leads you to the light of the Prophet ﷺ. I must engage with the likeness of the light of the heavens and the earth. This contemplation must be done with proper conduct, proper etiquette, with adab, not some intellectual, scholarly endeavor likening the Big Bang to the light of God or something. It must concern what God has shown me in the Quran. Then he turned to the heaven when it was smoke, وَهِيَ دُخَانٌ. I left you with the book of God and my family. The Prophet ﷺ didn't mention any other books or any things. Use these verses, these keys, these loci of guidance, the Prophet's family, reflecting on the heavens and the earth, to occupy your mind. If you engage with this properly, these problems you have will not remain. none of you will have these problems. You will sit down to invoke the wird morning and evening, and then the end of the night with the name Allah, and try throughout the day to keep to the presence of God through constant istighfar, the constant supplication for forgiveness. Do not neglect this to engage with trivial matters and sully your heart with backbiting and other vices. The one you are close to during the wird will remain with you outside the wird, and you will retain that adab throughout the day and be with your Lord all the time. Your mind will cleave to the Book of God and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the ship that carried you through the darkness, not those other things, those books, those constructs that did not carry you, and indeed maybe caused that darkness in the first place. They were just information, as if you were gathering facts without putting any light in your heart. The dear brother who asked this question is asking about keeping concentration throughout the day and in the wird. This is what we're talking about. What you call down during the wird remains with you outside of the wird. I swear by God that such a person will come to think always about things that please God if they practice proper ta'zeem or reverence before, during, and after the wird. Bare acts of worship without this are not much use at all. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama sallaita ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama barakta ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim fil alameen innaka Hamidun Majid.